Stand up there.
I'm going live.
You going live?
I would like to call the meeting of the Preston County Commission to order. Today is November 24th, 2020, at 9 a.m., and we will begin the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record show that all three commissioners are present: Commissioner Price, Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Stone. And do we have anyone from the public to be recognized? No, ma'am. I think they're all on the agenda. All right. I will review those.
I move that we pay the bills that are properly presented and approve here.
I'll second
It's been properly moved and seconded to review and pay the bills as they have been presented to us today. Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
it. Yes.
Yes. Assessor's office, do we have anything from the assessor's office? Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming. And we're a little bit early, so let's go with our collective.
I would like to make a motion at this time we dispense with the reading of the session with the senior vacation and supplement the record from November 12th to the 18th.
Second.
Then properly moved and seconded, to dispense with the reading and approve the proceedings in vacation, November 12th, 2020 through November 18th, 2020. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Yes.
We have from the clerk's office these state settlements, Castile and Darnell. Move we approve those.
Second that.
Then properly moved and seconded to approve the estate settlements, November 10th, 2020 through November 10th, 2020 for Castile and Darnell. Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. 1 minute, let's go ahead. I'm sure we'll go a little bit over, and with Steve and Davis, the Preston County Health Department, our COVID update. Morning, you guys.
Okay, as far as update today, glasses out so I can read. Our total numbers right now are 447 confirmed cases, 52 probable cases, 6 total deaths, 366 recovered cases, and we currently right now have 127 active cases. We were able to close out a lot of cases yesterday. We got a lot of cases that were finished with their isolation period and we were able to close them out. I do know that we've gotten, I think, another 5 cases came in, just the amount of time I was writing this down this morning. So, as far as the last, since November 1st, we've had 262 new cases. Just in the last 7 days, we've had 116 new cases. So it is definitely something that we're seeing a huge spike right now, as well as all over the state. Same story as last week. So, we're really just cautioning people, to do the only things we can do to prevent spreading this is wear a face covering, 6-foot social distancing, washing hands. We know Thanksgiving coming up this week, and Thanksgiving is a time where usually you get a lot of people, families get together. Our advice to everyone is to try to modify that as much as possible and be as safe with it as possible. Just because it's your family coming in from wherever doesn't mean they can't bring it with them, or doesn't mean you don't have it and can't give it to them. So really asking people just to kind of make smart decisions with that. Other than that, it's kind of the same thing we've been saying for a long time now. So you guys have any questions for us?
Just a comment. I mean, I know when you talk about Thanksgiving, I know they're still making the suggestion no more than 10 people and that sort of thing. Or unless you can quarantine 14 days prior to and after and all this. Is that what it seemed like I read that something with CDC.
Yeah, and I think I put something out, the CDC, a link to the CDC site with some recommendations for holiday gatherings. As far as private people in their house, there's no limit to those, that's up to the people. The 10 applies to public gatherings. So, you know, and mostly with Thanksgiving, you do have family gatherings in a house setting. So, you know, those aren't gonna be subject to any kind of attendance. But we're just asking people to really consider how COVID spreads and make smart decisions about Thanksgiving based on that. We find, you know, a lot of people that we're running into, especially a lot of the people that are coming out positive, had that, oh, well, I can't get it attitude, or I'm not gonna get it from my family type thing. And literally at this point, you can get it just about anywhere from just about anybody. So we're really just wanting people to try to have as small of family gatherings as they can, and maybe wait and have the big family gathering next Thanksgiving. So, anything else?
I'll just add what we've done, to modify, because we've had this surge and it doesn't look like it's gonna let up. So basically, we went back to requesting that everybody use the back entrance. Of course, a mask is required. We still have the social distancing, which we're also requiring. So we're asking everyone not to use the front doors, but everyone come through the back doors and exit the front doors. And that helps us prevent people coming back toward people. So we keep the flow going this way. And, you know, this is the end of the month, and we know lots of folks might need to come in and get their car registration. So we want to encourage everyone and ask everyone to do that. Also, we want to encourage everyone to use the online, if at all possible, to use all the online services we have. It's on the website. If they have any question, they can call any office. Also, I'm sure that any office would accommodate them by appointment if they need anything. So just to let everyone know, that's in effect. The arrows are back on the floor. We have signage up to instruct everyone to come in the back and go out the front. And that will stay in effect, and there's no date to lift that.
I think the only modification to, or addition to what you're saying is that if someone is handicapped,
Oh, of course.
or special needs and cannot get down the steps on the front of the annex, then you are permitted to come back out that back door.
We instruct everyone that way. The staff is very good about even assisting people to make sure that they understand that when they approach to do business.
And you can do a lot of this online.
Yes, sir.
Also, while we're doing this, I'll just get the 911, what we did over there is we actually had the dispatcher still mandatory temperatures, when they come in during shift change. Everybody puts a mask on so that if somebody would have to be positive, no interaction between them, they wear the mask during the shift change. We've gotten in and out, you go and get your report, get out, no conversations or anything. So we've done all that. Also limited the 911 center to only essential vendors that are required to wear a face mask if they're in there. And as well as admin, when we go in there, we also wear face masks while we're in the 911 center.
I'll go ahead and add a couple more quick things. One, Preston County has reached orange status on the state DHHR map. We've been in orange for the last 3 days. As far as community testing, there is currently community testing going on. Right now, the hospital is offering free testing Monday through Friday from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And the three free Preston Taylor clinics in the county at Rollsburg, Eglin, and Newburgh are offering free testing from 8 to 4 every day by appointment. You just have to call and let them know you want to come in and do a free test, and they'll just work out a time with you to pull in, and they'll come out and do the test. As far as guard testing, I was notified by the guard on Sunday. They wanted to try to set up some free testing for yesterday and today, but they did not have the availability of guard units because they're just stretched so thin right now. So we didn't get anything set up for that. I would say we probably, after the Thanksgiving holiday, we'll probably see some more of the free testing that the guard comes and does, unless our color changes between now and then. The other thing I wanted to comment on was, I know we get a lot of complaints. I know the county commission gets a lot of complaints from people regarding the face covering, executive order that the governor updated. And, as far as that goes, we definitely want to encourage people, if you want to call and let us know a facility is not doing that. If it is a facility that the health department permits, we do have a little control. If it's a food service or someone we issue a permit to, we can require their employees to wear face coverings. So definitely give us a call and let us know about that. As far as other businesses, the governor's executive order is very clear. If you are in an indoor space, regardless of your perceived ability to 6 foot social distance, you're supposed to have a face covering on. Now, not doing that's violating the governor's executive order, and the governor has said that law enforcement will enforce that. Now, to what extent law enforcement can enforce that, that's a question for law enforcement, not a question for the health department or county commission for that matter. So, we just want to encourage people to, let us know when you see those things. We will do what we can do about it, but also understand that we are limited as to, where our ability goes with enforcing that regulation. A lot of that does fall on law enforcement. So, Matt, does have any other questions for me?
No, thank you.
See you then. Have a good Thanksgiving.
All right, just running a little bit behind, we will go ahead with our OEM 911 mapping and addressing updates.
Kathy asked me to come over and kind of update you all on, what we've been doing over the last year and stuff. Justin's looking at some of the stuff we've been kind of heavy on, so the technology and stuff we use takes care of most of that. One of the things, first thing I like to do is just thank the staff I had over this last year. It's been very challenging at minimum. Everybody stepped up to the plate, did what they needed to do, went above and beyond, what we normally ask of them. So, first thing I'd just like to thank them for everything everybody has done. And one of the first things I'd like to bring out as far as 911, we were looking the other day, and we're pretty proud of the fact that we have, to this date, have no first responders that have been exposed to COVID on a call. I mean, we have responders that are tested positive that have been at their workplace or whatever, but to this date, no law enforcement, no fire, and no EMS. And a lot of that I'll give credit to dispatchers that are constantly questioning these people, asking, and we're not sending people into situations they don't know what's going on. A lot of counties are not doing that, and they've had positive. So, we're still actively asking questions to callers to try to keep them as safe as possible before they go in. I've been on into that stick, and it's very nice to know. So you're suited up, you got everything on, protect yourself, which if you got all that on, it's really not that big a deal. So, but if you go in thinking, oh well, and we've had neighboring counties that had several members of fire department and stuff went up, and asked anything on, then you can shut the code. So. First thing on this, I'm just going to skim over these. You all have specific questions to ask me because Tom will be here all day. I think we'll do that. First is we put the garage over the past couple of years because of money issues. We kind of spanned that over a couple of years, but the garage is up and complete now. Also, it's been used, as Justin put in here, host tax sale. It's been used for a couple other things, but what that garage, the purpose of it was, we've got a lot of nice equipment. We've got on grant that sits out in the rain and snow and everything else. Unfortunately, the federal government doesn't see a need for grant money for buildings to put this stuff in, so, we can save up, got the ability to get our stuff in and out. It's been wired for generators and stuff, to plug them in, keep the engine heaters warm, so that events notice, that you go out the door. Also, our communications trailers and stuff, it's going to help immensely. We've got everything pretty well done, where we can start stacking everything in there, and we'll try to get as much as we can in there. Also, hopefully, if we can, have a place for the plow truck to be in there as well. Next thing on the list was, we helped the fire, assisted the fire department through the fire association to complete and submit to AFG a $2 million grant to replace their radios. The radios they have, we did a grant 2008, were successful in that. But these radios are way outdated, they're over 12 years old now. Don't have, in that 12 years, things have changed a lot. The county went to different systems. We have 700 meg in Maryland, we have 800 meg in Pennsylvania. We've got 450 here in other counties. Their radios want to do VHF. So these new radios will help immensely with their communication issues. Also, give them an updated radio on that. But that will be, if we're successful in this, will be about $2 million. I'll let Justin take it from here. A lot of these are the integration problems, or integration projects we went through with the gas system and stuff.
Yeah, we've got several projects that are underway or waiting to be started. The APCO interfaces are guide cards or police, fire, or EMS, and we're about ready to go with a full interface. We've been using them. It's kind of cumbersome with the dispatchers because they have to type it in one, wait to do the call, copy, paste it over. So the new system will just, as soon as they type it in one, it automatically integrates it over into your CAD system, saves them a good bit of time. Spillman CAD with ECW, that's just combining a few of our networks or a few of our pieces of equipment. So right now, if you go to the dispatch center, you'll see they have 3 different mics because they're running off 3 computers. Well, if we can do that, we go down to 2 mics. And then down the road, when we can get the radios implemented, they go down to 1 mouse and 1 screen or whatever. But it'll actually help us to save as well, because right now we have to have 3 or 4 CPUs at each station. So whenever you do this, you keep the server, but the one PC will do multiple things. So basically here, hopefully within the next 2 or 3 years, instead of having to buy 16, we'll buy 4. So it'll take our cost savings down long term. A little bit of money up front, but long term it should help us out, plus functionality. EMS charts, this was an interface that whenever the EMS folks get their reports, it'll automatically take the information from the dispatcher's CAD and dump it into their system. They don't have to retype it, saves them some time, just like our law enforcement already does. That's pretty well complete. We're just tweaking a few things with it, but it's almost taken care of. Motorola radio, still, that's what I talked about. It's probably 2 or 3 years down the road, I would say. But we're still doing the legwork to make sure when it's ready, we're ready to go. I'm responding radio interface. What we're doing now with it is we're trying to enhance the I'm responding system even more that you guys pay for. The agencies really love it. It's a very big benefit to them. So what that does is we actually capture audio from our dispatch and we'll send it to their phone. So right now they just get a text message. So what this will do, it'll actually listen to the tone and it can figure out, it's smart enough to know, okay, this is, Kingwood's tone, this is Preston's tone. And it'll actually send it to their phone, so they'll actually get audio files just like if they were carrying a case. So we've got that interface underway. Just waiting on the computer and put a few wires in and be good to go. And then also we're doing an alias database management project. We were able to do this in the past, but whenever we went with the new state radio system, we lost that functionality. State just did a radio upgrade, and now we have that capability back, so we're working on implementing that. So that way we can manage our own radio assets, and we don't have to send it to the state to get taken care of. They've been very good with us, but, it's just pretty nice if you need to make one at, 4:59 on a Friday evening or something, and everybody's out of the office or, or on vacation or something, that we can just take care of it ourselves again, so that will be beneficial. Recommended units and response plan, that is our CAD system. Our CAD's very complex. The fire departments have broken it down and looked at different areas and said, okay, if there's a call here, this is who we want paged. So the dispatchers can look at it, but it's 2 or 3 steps to do it. So what this recommended units system will do is we can look and say, okay, if there's a fire here and at this location, the CAD will automatically go out and will say, okay, based on the location and the call type, we want you to send fire department A, B, C. They hit okay, it automatically throws them on the call. And probably in the next 2 or 3 years, it'll actually drop their tonnage form as well. So it's just a big streamlining event or an effort to really cut down on a lot of duplicate actions.
Yeah. We have 3 new dispatchers that have almost first of December will have their year in. Just now getting into the point that we can actually cut them loose without, we kind of start them in training and they function with a trainer right behind them. Then once they get that level, they go into like the cover shift where there's 3 people in there, so there's always, somebody to ask or whatever. So they went through that and they're up to a level now. But that comes after, they've met the criteria, they've done all the things with the trainers, and they take a test, which was not an easy test. I mean, we come up with questions ourselves from Nick, me, to Kendra, everybody put our areas we work into that test, and they have to pass that with 80% for way over allowing them to go into that position. But they are up there and hanging in there and doing a really good job. So,
Well, Camp Ambulances now has a service out of New Bergen. You guys are familiar with that. You granted them temporary access to that area to provide EMS coverage. We went down and helped set up some temporary communications for them so that way, they can get their pages and see what's going on and everything. Been a little bit of a challenge in that area because it's in a hole. So with temporary fixes, it's, it's not as good as we want it to be, but I feel comfortable with it being, enough to take care of their needs. It's not great, but it's, they have everything that they need. So that's putting in place.
Also, one of the big things we do there is maintaining the radio and pager programs, which keeps Justin very busy. I mean, there's always either sheriff's department or somebody coming in, or there's updates and frequencies that we have to go back and get every fire truck and ambulance in the county. So if somebody buys these pagers, which does 2 things. One, saves them $25 just to do a pager. If a radio company does it. The other thing is, we're very pleased with the radio system we have in this county, and applaud Justin for that, because we started a long time ago. We do the programming. All these counties have road programmers that come around and get these radios. Well, when you have a problem with a radio, you don't know where to go. Was it this programmer? Was it our system? Was it your system? So we actually do all that in-house. We program all the radios. So if they go, we used to run on Fair he goes to Belleville, jumps in their truck, it's exactly set up the same way as what his truck was in Fair. So when you get on these sheet scenes and stuff, it's nice that you can just grab in the truck, they know exactly what they're looking at, and they can keep communicating.
We have probably 400 to 450 radios in all disciplines.
I'll let you do the AVL, what goes on with it, that's another ongoing project.
Yeah, so the AVLs are automated vehicle locators. Fire, EMS, and law enforcement, they all have them. Some of them have them, like EMS and every apparatus. Fire usually has a couple apparatus from each station, and our sheriff's department runs all those. So we try to maintain all those for them, whether it be troubleshooting or if they change them, we have the modify settings and everything, but we take care of, all that for them as well. So.
And this was probably one of the best projects we've ever done in this county, as far as the safety of all responders and everything. Also, the accuracy of our calls. I mean, when you sit there and look, an ambulance driver could call from dispatch seat and say, hey, wait a minute, you just went past the driveway. Because if you ever were out and run on ambulance with fire truck, you'll know most of the houses aren't marked. Some of the roads that aren't marked. Now, I think Nick's like 200 or 300 roads behind, with the state that, he's got comments in the road signs out there. They're running way behind with those. So being able to do that is a huge deal. I mean, we use it for special operations with law enforcement, where we can black out radio traffic and just use the AVL themselves. And two, if something would happen to them and they hit their alert button before, we knew they had a problem, but we didn't know where they were at. Now we look where the car's at, and then we send help immediately right to where they're at. Before, we would have known they were in trouble, but we wouldn't know where to send it to. So that's been a huge deal. We started a long time ago looking at that. And we've got a lot of counties actually coming down looking at ours because they want to get on board with it. You want to do them all that state?
Sure. So, as Link said earlier, each state and even within states, there's several different radio frequencies and different systems that they have. So we're starting to dabble a little bit in the multi-state radio programming. We're going to be doing a base station in our area and also one of the fire departments at mutual aid with both Maryland and Pennsylvania. Purchased a radio that we can do this with. Pennsylvania's not too bad. Maryland is a state system like ours. There's several hoops you jump through. Had a regional meeting earlier this month. They approved this, so I've got a meeting with them in December to get approval, so that way we can be programmers for Maryland. We're not going to go through program in Maryland, but that way we can use their stuff in our system, so that way the departments will be able to have interoperable communications with wherever they're going, basically from our area.
911 SOGs, Justin's been looking to do. Mainly what we're doing there, you know, is a moving target. It never stays the same. The 911 advisor can't change the thing. We do amend it at the time, but we're going basically going to go back through it, put everything the way it should be, take out all the amendment stuff and just put it the way it should be. So everybody will have a correction on that part of it.
Something you all, but sometime in the near future for final review and approval. The AFCO guide cards, we're using fire EMS and law enforcement. Law enforcement was very weak. They were generic copies. But if we didn't go with the generic copy at the time, we'll have to modify them. If we did, we're going to have to pay like probably another $12,000 down the road. So we just went ahead and used the generic copy for now. We want to customize those like we have for fire EMS, but we're just waiting on the new administration. We got a prosecutor and a new sheriff coming in, so we thought before we could try to really do it now and, you know, change something to duplicate work. So we're just kind of awaiting that to the guide cards. And lastly, for 911, we have a partnership, I guess I should say, with the Preston County Radio Club. They have an Aries component now, which is imagery and emergency services. Excuse me. And what they do, they provide disaster communications. They were used pretty heavily in the 85 floods. Of course, our radio systems are a lot better than they were back in those days anyway, so hopefully the change of the heating is limited. But we still like to partner with them. They're actually looking at coming on to our Laurel Tower with a repeater. So I'll be bringing something to you all in the future, MOU, just so they had to do one with the state to access the tower, and we need to do one for us to access the building. We want to let them house it in our building, that Laurel Tower. But anyway, we've got a very good working relationship with them, and their imagery group is actually meeting. It's been kind of weird to do all this, but they've been doing it via Zoom. But they are really trying, and you know, they had a class that we've tried to do for 3 years. They had one in, I think it was March before all this stuff started. I think it's February, but they've been good partners with us for that.
Any questions on the 911 stuff? Moving on to everything, one of the big things we've been doing over was work heavily with Kathy on this, keeping the COVID supplies in for responders. I've actually had a couple of the EMS agencies come up and thank us because they've heard from other counties, they're not so fortunate, they're very limited on the amount of PPE they can get. So far, we've been able to supply, you know, our EMS fire, we've got a sanitizer, kits that they can sanitize their equipment and stuff with. Also, one of the big things, we got the cappers, they call it. It's a unit you wear, low positive pressure, so when you're in with a positive COVID patient, constantly forcing fluid air around your face, so there's no chance that you're going to suck anything around the corner of the filter or you know, that you're wearing, or face mask that you're wearing. So, one of the things on this is we got those trained last week and deployed out into the field. We got 4 of them. One of them, 2 of them went to camp, one went to Terra, and one went to Preston. As well as the hospital also has several, like 3 or 4 in there, that any squad going to transport out of the hospital, can pick up and Right. Training went very well, they're very simple to use, and work very effectively. Actually, they're for a level above what the BOA, or what the,
Yeah, they're for airborne, but the nice thing about them is right now you can't find small N95 masks anywhere, like there's just none to be found. And the nice thing about that is if you are small, we can get a setup that works for somebody with a small face and use those. So for people that don't have the required PPE available to them, the next provides it to them. And the old Pappers are not nowhere near as nice as what the new one is. They're a little bit bulkier, they're a little bit easier. But we were able to locate some Pappers that we're going to try to get out to, at least one for all the agencies. I mean, it's not as nice, but our thought process behind where the cappers went is those are first line trucks that are usually out taking the majority of the calls, so that's why they went there. And then we'll try to get some Pappers to backfill. If the squad's on, like I said, they're a little bit hot, they're a little bit noisy, they're a little bit heavier, but it's still above and beyond protection of what you actually need, which, is good about that.
We've also initiated a PPE committee, and the reason for that was, in the statement, of course, the state got tired of it, that's what we got it. They just took a big box cloud and then that hand out, but, Justin and Fred and some of them are on that committee said, you know what, we've got some of these people that are trying to get huge amounts of stuff, and we know they're not using. So basically what that committee does, they sit down and discuss, they have to turn in how much supply they have on hand, so they actually, review if there is a need or not need for that. So that committee worked out very well. We have been supplying to that state all the clinics and stuff that they're been. Also, Justin, Nick, and myself have went out and helped BJ with the community testing when he needed us. So we've been several days, we've been out with them, working with the community testing, also helping set up the sites and stuff, get them contacts and stuff to get their sites set up. Already kind of went over the training spots, like I said, in the 4 units we have, they're one and done field. So, again, you can't imagine how nice they are, because how much safer it makes you feel being in there with active paper fish, and you got that thing on, it just makes you feel so much safer. Justin put in a Homeland Security grant to replace our ADL, lower ADL device for 3G. And they're very 4G, but they're very slow. Yeah. So we put in a Homeland Security grant to replace those. So that's successful there.
We should be hearing that. Usually we know that by October, but it's a little bit backlog this year.
So we've got that in the works that we get those replaced. Fleet management of all vehicles. Well, it's up, the front's going pretty good. I think everything's in line. We've just recently worked through a few issues with the bus garage on building stuff, but other than that, I think everything's going along. What we're currently doing is looking at when we do decide to replace vehicles, if we want to maintain with Enterprise, or we want to look at another alternative. I've been going out to lease companies. I went to State Bid, looked at the price of these vehicles. Kind of went back to Enterprise, said, you're about 12,000 high, maybe you can do a little better. So we're looking at that, so I'll be able to give you actual cost of this versus this. Hopefully, it's been built up, but I've got also a spreadsheet run where I can tell you every month how much each part is costing you to run maintenance wise. So that'll be forthcoming here once right now it's on, or it's so good that it's just getting a 25 day worthwhile. You look at it, you can say, well, what we do, why was this car 10 times what the other car was? So.
Is there a way to, historical data from before when we did not lease? Is there a way to see the benefit, because I think we've been leasing long enough that we should be able to start seeing the benefit of leasing.
Well,
Is there a way that we can compare this cost or see now what it would cost if we went away from leasing?
well, we can kind of come up with a number, that's what I'm working on, because right now, you know, the lease says there's so much stuff in it, like oil change stuff. I said, well, I know what an oil change costs, and you tell me what all's included in that, so I can say, well, if we did this one already, here's what it would cost us, even if we send them to wherever we get the oil change, this is what it's gonna cost us. So we'll be able to do a side-by-side comparison, see if we're actually saving money.
I believe that when.
That's okay, the only thing I'll say is, you know, part of our issue was we weren't real consistent in the past, the historical data is harder, because, it was, at one time, the only fleet we actually had was the sheriff, and we added to the fleet when Wayne got vehicles and others got vehicles. So, I think the data that he is gonna provide to you will be extremely beneficial. It's hard to go back and get some historical data because there wasn't any consistency. Everybody didn't use the same vendor, so that's a little bit difficult.
Well, this is finding that cost moving forward if we want to.
We're gonna have to watch now, because like you creating a central garage made a central point so we could do that. Before Kathy did some, I did some, Melissa did, you know, it's all over the place, nobody, to put that together would be
Really hard.
impossible almost. So, but now it's all come through one road, it's not gonna be hard at all.
And we still have vehicles that we need to get auctioned.
We are, Rick's going to Dawson. We're gonna come in and we're gonna put all of them on, he's going, different everything, but we want to come in, he's actually done it, so
Okay.
he's gonna come in, work with us that day, we're gonna put all the cars on, so we can get trained on, and everything's get listed, yeah.
Well, I would encourage you to call that Mr. Stewart, he is excellent,
Oh, I know, but I just want somebody to sit
Sure, I
there and not a
understand.
video
but
call.
he's excellent.
Right.
We'll have to, get a list from you all, just exactly. what
Yeah,
those-
some of
those
them
are
are like
prices.
minimums, if you want minimums, if you don't. And that will be what sheriff's own vehicles or, what they confiscated, I guess, so. We're going on, so I think that's on time, so.
Good.
We'll get them out of the air, it's just down here with this crazy thing, we just haven't had a lot of time to put towards it, so. I finally got Rick, and got him, and then help us, get us trained up to what we're gonna do now, that's gonna be a big deal, once it's in the, let's get it out the door, so it seems good.
One thing I do know, and I don't know, we get a lot of feedback from the sheriff, from different, folks, and so with the leasing of the vehicles, I know that when you come to the end, when a lease vehicle, where they're gonna take it back and they're gonna auction it off or do whatever they do with it, there's an option to buy that vehicle at a much better price. And so, when we get to where we are needing those vehicles to be spare vehicles or whatever, we might have a really good vehicle in our lease fleet that's getting ready to go back, and we might wanna look at that option of.
Over 60 months, I doubt probably that most of those vehicles
They're not gonna be worth much in the sheriff's vehicles anyway, they're gonna be wore out.
Yeah, such as who's working.
They're gonna be wore out.
So, all right, we're very good on.
I mean, some of them may be, if they're not using certain applications, very well maybe, but some of them I'd say is gonna be. And one of the other things we're looking at is the type of vehicle. I've noticed since I've taken this over, the vehicles we are using are very problematic. We've been having issues like early on, like 30,000 mile, rear housing going out and stuff on. So we're actually looking at a different type of vehicle. I think the cost is about the same. When they price them out, one was within $1,000 of each other, so, we're definitely looking at different options, and I think this vehicle will hold up much better. State police are running them now, so I'll be able to get some feedback from them, and see how they're going.
Alright.
That's about all, if you look on the enterprise site now, we've got all our state inspections are on there, we know exactly when. They will work with Bobby pretty easy now, saying, hey, this month we're gonna have this unit coming in for the inspection, and we're gonna need an oil change or whatever, so we've been able to make it pretty well. With that,
Well, I know you put a lot of time into that, and, but it's gonna pay off.
at this point now, it's running all pretty easy. You get the building, the west part will be out, what took hours and hours and hours, and now it takes probably about 45 minutes. everybody seems to be happy with it, we're getting the information in.
Are they filing their mileage?
The mileage actually comes in on the invoice, everything, you have to put in mileage and you have to put in driving money before they'll let you get gas.
Yep,
So,
that's the great thing about that.
you know,
Now we are getting,
and actually,
we can track stuff better.
the invoice I can
I like
see,
before.
you go to the check, you can see how much they're paying per gallon, so if we got somebody who's trying to help his buddy out and paying $1 more a gallon,
Yeah,
we can say, hey, you need to go over here and I'll pay. So it's
or
actually
you
gives a lot
can
more.
see why is this vehicle all of a sudden using twice as much fuel,
Yeah.
because maybe he's filling up so he can take it in the long run.
We'll pick that up too. I'll let you do the sign.
Yeah, so, the statewide interoperable radio network, they have what they call a statewide interoperable executive committee. It's a governing body, like the system, there's probably about 30 some people in that. We actually sit on as the appointment to the Emergency Management Council, so it's a little time consuming, it takes about a day a month, because they have a meeting every month, so it eats up about a day of your hours. But the nice thing is you can kind of see what's going on with the system, kind of up front, you can kind of like in your association of county commissioners or whatever, you kind of know what's going on, keeps you in the loop, and actually we're a voting member for that, so any of the issues that come up or whatever, we're representing the West Virginia Emergency Management Council as who we represent, but we do so on that as well.
One of the big things we did for the EOC, for disasters and stuff, we put the video wall up. I don't know if you've all seen it, there's like a huge wall behind TV north. The guy that works for Preston the wall actually came down to purchase and said, you know, they were willing to, put it in, program it and everything for free. And, we just buy the equipment and we pick them up on it. It's pretty amazing, let's put different things on the wall, maybe all one screen. But for a disaster, it's gonna be awesome because then we got one wall, we can view several different things at one time. So it's, we can never get to use it, but if it does, it's gonna be awesome. It is up and running, he's got to come back, make a couple more tweaks and
Well, we hooked the one lightning strike, we go off a few pieces, so we're still kind of, parts are slow to get right now, sometimes that we're getting that wrapped up and probably new training with, this and bring it back in last year, probably some time and, get the super.
how are we on time? I don't want to go back. One of the big things with this is if you go to the next list, Madison, that world, these things, several items on here, I'm going to skim over real quick. He has, you can read the details on it. The big thing, he worked with Rolling folks to get their address and updated to our standard. With a lot of small undertakings, he was successful, and happy to say that all our new addresses are going out. So that was the last town in the county that didn't have the addresses, as far as up to our standard. They now do, they have duplicates, they had all kinds of problems, but with them working through, it's now been done, and so it's come through. He got some information where he submitted that to the frontier because you have to get that 95% matching and all of that stuff, and he went through all that process. One of the things we're doing, for the CAD side of it, he's updating his delivery software to, what do they call it, personal,
Yeah, it's the pro.
yeah, Pro, which allows the CAD system to use that as your product for the nutrition. One of the huge things that they did last year was break through the Google wall and got a contact to where we now have a working relationship with Google on our address. That was a huge help to anybody that has using GPS to get anywhere. Also with the I'm responding, we have like a 50% time it'll hit on address now, it's every time. Once he got that approved, because everybody uses Google as a platform for their apps or whatever, so that was a huge thing. And he works constantly with those people are trying to get updates occasionally or something, and they get updated, so that was a pretty success there. I think he said they collected and modified 171 addresses in Rollsburg. Man's law things constantly, he's been putting in actually several new addresses this year and stuff. He's constantly doing that, also works with like CPOs, with the signage, if people call and say, hey, I have a sign on my road, you work with them, or he works with our contractor. If it's a driveway and we name it, then we will have to sign it. So he takes care of all that. Also, he's always constantly working with the fire department, in addition, water systems come on board to have hydrants, he gives out GPS and all those, puts them in the system. So when the big snow comes, you literally can take your AVL and the map is used down until a fire truck is sitting beside a fire hydrant, dig down and you'll find it, you know. And I'm sure you've seen that up there before. So, or when they're responding, call, you'll hear them a lot of times now and say, hey, where's the closest hydrant to the fire at? So they know what hydrant to grab and everything else. So that's only one project that's always going. Also worked with First Energy, got all the electrical numbers now. You can access the 911 center, stuff with direct. We don't have to send a responder up to, you know, where lines are down or any close to it. They can pull right off out of the dispatch center and say, here's your phone number, call one, power, or.
And that's actually a beta test. We have a very good working relationship with First Energy, and they picked one county in the north and one in the south. So it's Summer County. So that we're currently the only ones that has their data right there on the beta project.
If I could just add something on our level as far as Nick's work is, we're requesting zoning and permitting letters all the time. He's just been quite an asset to be able to call him, and he instructs him on floodplain, he instructs him on mapping or dressing, and also assists us in making sure that something's outside that corporate boundary. So that's something that has just reduced our work tremendously, that he responds to them and helps us out a lot with that.
And he did also does the floodplain stuff. Me and Nick were certified floodplain managers, so we trade off, trade off these on what they do for the process. But on a day-to-day basis, he usually interviews like Gavin said, sometimes there's people who are not real nice to deal with. And then, hopefully moving on with the administration down there, maybe what they would do, maybe a little better. So, also, LDs, he worked with the fire department for the landing zones in. Also, worked with fire marshals always on their boundaries, insurance ratings, we get a lot of calls for those. How far is this house from a hydrant, which now he contains pools. Say, okay, it's 150 feet from hydrant. And, it helps people in this county a lot because they get better rates, when we can pull that data like that. You get better rates.
On the website, they kind of started doing a lot of it themselves too, so they can look at it.
Yeah, we've been trying to get a your website and stuff. Nick's also kind of, I'll put it down on him, but he does all our updates and stuff. Him or Justin, because I'm not the shadow too much. I don't have Facebook, so I have no idea how it runs, but anything gets updated, they're the ones that get into that and updates that. Also, Nick Thompson works with the clerk's office and the assessor's office for different data or address verification and stuff. Also, he works a lot with the U.S. Postal Service. They're usually calling one that this is a valid address or not. So, and surprisingly, a lot of them are trying to use addresses that aren't valid. So, Nick is very meticulous. I would say we probably got some of the best addresses in the state of West Virginia. Where you need to bring that out there just because he's so picky about it. He doesn't work that. Everything's right or want to say. And there's actually in the CAD service just where they can take a CAD, you can play with the address problem. And then GIS part of the filming. If they have a problem, they can click it, and it'll actually send her an email, so next day you get it on the email, so it's a problem with the address. We got a pretty efficient way of touching virtually everything.
Well, I mean, it's a really good process, from start to finish. I believe I've been on the end of going out and seeing firsthand how the addresses are established and the places, especially kind of being as large as we are and as rural. It's amazing to see when you get out there and the equipment that you have, what they're using to establish and how detailed and very down to the point of pulling into the driveway. You have to have everything just so accurate to make that process work. So it's,
We do a lot of training with the fire department. Once we get people understand how the system works with south and northwest, east, you know, and there's a thousand addresses, you know, if you see 250, you're going 500, you know, you've got to go a mile to go, so.
I have a real good relationship with, Michael Baker International, one of their technicians has been awesome. I mean, he's, well above and beyond what probably is required to help us out. So that's a big,
Super GIS.
yeah, that's a big part of it also. He's been awesome to work with.
One of the things, was that new vehicle, we've got that new vehicle for,
Oh, yeah, our track machine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've got the trailer in. We had to kind of customize one just because of the sizes and everything. It's not so big, but it's kind of tall by the time you get your rollover and stuff. So we have it in. I'm hoping to have that in sometime before long. They're bringing it back with another one, so they're finishing up that project. They make everything right there, so there's a lot of customized work that goes into them, but I'm hoping to have those on site.
And ours is the first one to have a med bed on, wasn't
Yeah, we're the first one with the medical aspects to it, so there was a lot of fine tuning and.
Just, you skipped over it because we know, but it's for those out there, it's like a tracked vehicle that you use.
I have a small tank in
it?
it.
Yeah, you literally can cross the bank, to a pond, cross pond, they got a bank on the other side.
and 4 snow.
Oh, yeah, 60, yep.
Yeah, he said they had it in, somewhere in Colorado, the elevation was over 13,000 feet, and they had it on 10 feet, 8 feet of packed and like a couple feet of fresh and everything, motor through, so they kind of done a lot of beta testing with it. They're on their fourth prototype of this already, so we kind of got the new one, and it's a lot of new equipment on this one too, where they found it problematic.
I don't blame, when it gets here, bring it to one of your commissioners and.
Good.
I think it's very important to know that our team over there is very aggressive when it comes to grants. Many, we would not have here, if it not for their hard work. And plus, Justin is the go-to guy on Homeland Security. He's also, this office is also our base, backup on our Facebook page, just like Wayne, I ain't no master at that. So, you know, I just think it's very, very important. You know, Preston County, I would put Preston County's OEM 911 mapping and addressing. As you can see, they respect them a lot because they've asked them to be on a statewide team. So I think that's really very important to know.
Cutting edge, right?
That'll come to a call.
Yeah.
But a lot of grants like this, no track.
Oh, yeah.
For vehicle, that was,
Yeah, that was a 5-year project, and, you know, we kept beating our head, and they tell us, what, 3 years ago, we just might as well put it blind for, because we weren't gonna get it.
they said you need more.
Consistency got it.
So if you would find another agency that would say, yeah, that could really benefit us, so give it to them, you know, I mean, you gotta use some sense, you know, a lot of places we're getting mobile communication trucks, and we don't need one, there's one in one county, we'll go get theirs. You know, but this is something that's specialized, that I don't know of anybody else in the whole very specialized piece of equipment that's needed moving through for, because usually every year we end up having to get the gas company, the electric company, get their money back. And, they're either needing it or they're out of hours, so, you know, we've been stuck a couple of times where we almost couldn't get into somebody, but this will help us to be able to do that. You know, brush fires or, you know, access to, critical infrastructure.
Communication wise, you know, we got to power one down, talk about revenue today with the town road. I've been up there when the door snowed and caught the door on the building, so being able to get up in there is a big deal to start losing, you know, the storms or whatever. We have to get in there to repair those radios. Also, we've had several, like Justin said, you know, rescues the way we've had to go in and give people out with snow trap. The thing, the unique thing about this is it's in snow, water, it doesn't carry you across the way down there, a lake, you go across the lake, and whatever, it's up there, and it's not as fast as street boat in the world, but it gets you
Would it be
there.
beneficial like in a river setting?
No, I wouldn't think it.
I wouldn't think it would, I was just.
I mean, if you're going through a stream, yeah, if you're going through a stream, you know, you'd be okay, but like, I wouldn't put it in a cheap river.
Right,
I don't think you gotta make the fault, you
Yeah.
might get you in trouble.
yeah,
Well, even when else, you try to get crossways, it's just going to do and get in trouble, so.
I mean, it's got winches on, I mean, if you tie it off and winch it out into the river, it would be fine, but, yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, we've seen a need for it in Montana, and Murray County does letter support, and all that, and it's,
all right. Well, I appreciate the
thank you.
update,
Sorry for the
thank you very much.
I'm glad you had a lot of things to say.
We're hopeful to scratch a lot of these off the list and call them complete before too long, because we've got a lot of stuff to do.
regular meeting with no rolling phone, we started talking, and get some action in, so.
Okay, well, we are running
Thank
a
you.
lot behind, but we do appreciate the update. And I think those are good updates for our Economic Development Authority, because it's good to know the different things that we're offering and working on for future development here. So with that being said, we're moving on with Roberta Baylor, she is with Economic Development Authority, and she has a LED grant and a resolution.
Every year, we have the opportunity to apply through the state, economic development office, for LED grant, local economic development grant. This year, the amount is $22,727. And as a part of that application, we have to have a resolution from the county commission that we are going to be economic development authority in the county. So I think that you received copies of that resolution. I sent it to Angie. Hopefully you have that. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Great. Okay. So basically, it's just saying that, for the purposes of the grant, we are the authority designated by the county commission to apply. And other than that, you know, I can provide any information you want. I didn't come prepared with an update, which is probably good at this point. We are looking for new offices, mostly we're still unpacking, but we are new, so that is great. Anything else? Probably most importantly, we are getting ready to apply for the next broadband grant, partnering with Prodigy again. Those applications are due December 23rd. They are point-based applications, 100 points. 40 of the points are public participation. So we've got surveys out. We're asking for people to respond to the survey. We're also asking for people to send us screenshots of data rates that they can get going through Equa or Speed Test or some of those places. What we're seeing so far is pretty much what we expected. A lot of people are responding from Frontier, and we're seeing speeds of, you know, 1s and 2s, which is really good. So the new project area would be the eastern part of the county, from where the current project drops off, which is just below Hazleton, down through Big Bear to only the full-time property residents, not the whole Big Bear. I mean, we could blow the whole money just serving Big Bear. Down into Cranesville, out to your Aurora Pike, and into Aurora, through Aurora, down through Eglin, Horseshoe Run, all the way to Silver Lake. So it's a really huge project area, but we think that with the $3 million grant that we can provide service to all those people. So that's our goal at this point. And the grant applications are due December 23rd. So we're jumping on that as fast as we can. We'd like to try to get those in before December 23rd because We anticipate that there won't be a lot of people in the USDA office if we need any assistance.
How do people who hear this and are not necessarily, I mean, that want to participate because they will be affected nicely if we get it?
So we are also asking if someone just wants to send us something via mail. And I know, we're talking about people who don't have broadband, so online surveys and some of those kinds of things don't necessarily work. To send it to us by mail, if you just want to write a letter that my service is not really great. I can't even send you a speed test because it won't register. My kids really need broadband for school, and that's one of the things we're really focusing on this time is kids who need the broadband for school due to COVID and, our senior population that really needs to take advantage of telehealth and some of those things that you just can't do without the broadband service. So, we will take things via snail mail at our new address, which is 157 Port Plaza, Suite 8. Plaza Court, I always get that backwards, it's Plaza Court.
What was the address?
157 Plaza Court, Suite 8. Thank you. So unless you all have any other questions?
No, I'd like to make a motion.
I have to attest to that.
I'd like to move that we approve this resolution for participation and cooperation to save the economic, to some 5-year grant. And authorize the city.
And properly moved and seconded to authorize the president to sign this resolution for the economic development grant program. Which you can move forward. Commissioner Smith?
Yeah.
Commissioner Price?
Let's figure out what's spread the word on that. I know the newspapers and radio will.
You can send it out, see, I've got it on.
Yeah, we got it on Facebook, we've asked lots of people. to
And it was in
share
the paper.
It was in the paper, and I think we're probably going to study it on, and put it out in the newspaper, since that is delivered to every house in the town.
So you want people, even if they're not in that area, to
Well, we need as many people as possible to respond. And ultimately, they're not in the project area now. Hopefully, the next time they will be, we can only go as far as $3 million will go each time.
Well, yeah.
And we have to connect with where there's already service, so taking service to an area where we.
So we are applying for this again, so what were the service areas in the first?
The first was, North Preston, so we went over towards Pisky, Lake Woods, and came across to just about the Pennsylvania state line, the Maryland state line, came down into, limits and coverage, and kind of had to stop down in there. So one of the, stipulations of the grant funding is you cannot provide service where service already exists.
Right.
And they will go out and check. If they go out and check and you have service, it's the whole, application out. So we have to be very, very careful that we are not duplicating service anywhere. Satellite does not count, and cellular does not count. But any other, service.
Well, I know that next to the roads, that's the most frequently, most frequent topic, but, well, somebody out there.
Well, it's important for business, it's important for tourism, it's important for education, it's important for healthcare, it's.
A lot of people, when they move to the country, they can continue to do their jobs.
It is the interstate of the future. I mean, really, well, the present and the future. I mean, because without it, people, they don't have to come down your road, okay, for a business. They really don't care where your business is at, as long as they can reach out and touch you on the internet. And if you're not capable of sitting website and stuff like that, because you don't have the service, well, you're never gonna get the business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think now where to find this is in the
I have to come to see you too.
Well, remind me to come in the next 2 days that we're still just out there. All right, our administrators are currently tied up. I think we've already gotten all of our other business taken care of that we need to do, so we're just waiting on coffee to continue.
You can probably let the professional coffee makers take over. You're up, Kathy.
First item is, request for reimbursement from the HAVA sub-grant. We have a couple of things going on with HAVA. The first one is, the reason, I shouldn't have put request, what the HAVA grant is the one that we applied for, to help with the voting machines and also the security. The amount of that grant is,
This is to do with the voting.
yes, sir. This is all is concerning the election center. And if you'll remember, we had an opportunity to apply for some money to assist with that. The amount is $19,864.40, and that's the grant amount. I talked with them yesterday. All the paperwork is in. They will be sending us a check. In that particular one, we hold all the grant documents, and in case we have an audit. The project was about close to $34,000, and this was, we got 50% of the voting machines, and we got 85% of the cameras and security. So that's the first one. Now, the second one does need action on your part. This is CARES. This is a request from CARES. All of this based on COVID. Of course, all of these things are related to COVID. This particular application relates to the need to lease the space for early voting and coworker training, and also durable goods that we needed, because those used to be available at 911, but because we had to switch locations, we had to buy tables, chairs, the TV, the other things to be able to meet the need of the voter and also meet the need of the clerk for presenting poll worker training. So I'm asking that you all three sign. They're asking for all three signatures to apply for this money. And what the total of this one is. The total is $13,808.69. And what it's doing is, it does cover personnel. The clerk had to get some extra help because of the tremendous number of absentee ballots that had to be processed in the general election as it did in the primary election. Also, we have some postage in there just because of the magnitude of absentee ballots that we have to mail out. So I'd ask that all three of you sign the document. The clerk has been really helpful, Mary, very helpful. So this is another opportunity for us to be reimbursed from costs that were only occurred because of COVID.
I think it's good I think it's good to mention the absentee ballots that you handled were ones that only requested. With all the conversations about absentee ballots being sent out to whoever, wherever, for no reason, no request, West Virginia does not do that.
That's correct. That's correct, Dave.
Request, which I think is the more.
You have to ask for it, and you have to match your signature, you have to do all of that.
Just to put it in perspective, limiting the figures that we get usually about 170, we got 2,043 requests.
And those
And in general.
I like that.
Requests.
And then what did it get there?
And there's a clerk for Linda to sign.
I move this time we approve this request for the CARES grant funding for the election.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve, this application for the CARES grant funding for the election and officers that goes along with that. And permission for all three commissioners to sign. Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a couple of things for you in miscellaneous correspondence. We have a request, this is an annual request from Main Street to use the pine tree down at the LaRue property. It's already been, the LaRues have, agreed to that. It's for the Christmas, tree. They're actually gonna be doing it virtually this year, in the week of December 7th. So, yes, ma'am.
Should I remember, I don't.
Yes, I just didn't know the exact amount. We just got that yesterday, so I'm sorry. Right here is the amount. It just needs to be transferred up there. So, I'd ask that you just acknowledge the fact that they're going to be there. I'll let them know, unless you have objection, that they can use the tree. Okay. The other item I have is we have been formally notified that we have received $44,910 for the Victims of Crime Act. This is what helps, this actually is what funds your victim advocate. Got exactly what we requested, so that is a federal grant that goes from October 1 to September 30th. Don't forget, your next meeting is December 1st and it's night. So we're going to go back to the night meeting. We are going to limit appointments from outside. Any officer will, of course, can attend, but because we're in this surge of COVID, we want to keep those at a minimum. One appointment you already have and you have received their request by email. I emailed it to the Camp Ambulance, who is, they're assigned the Mountain Air Territory 2, and is requesting some financial assistance there, because they have actually got a station, I believe it's at Newburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you want them here, I think the letter speaks for itself. However, if you want them, please let me know so I can get a hold of them so they can schedule someone. As far as appointments, that we don't really have anything next week unless you all have something other than our meeting for next week. If you have something I need to add. One thing is, I do need a little bit of direction. I have not sent out the email to the Department of Highlands. I think I sent you a thing about what I was going to request, but I was uncertain if there was anything else I needed to put in there. And also, I was uncertain about, I think that we want to try to give them an idea of, we're looking in January. Is that correct? Okay. So that I can just say, we need to set something up. And as far as I know, that would be Zoom. I haven't gotten any other indication. Anything else for me?
We have no budget revisions?
No, but I don't know.
Okay, no budget revisions? Okay, that is one thing that I just wanted to discuss briefly is the budget revisions. And I think it's important that when all departments, elected officials, when you have those budget revisions, I think that it's important that you come to the commission on the day of the meeting when you have that revision. That way, if there's any questions, any additional explanation needed for those revisions, it would be nice to have each person that is requesting that here in person to take care of it. So we can, I think, that's the way we used to do it. We kind of gotten away from it because of the COVID and, different things. And it's just time to get back to the way that it needs to be done.
I think the best way to handle that, Commissioner, is just send a memo out. You can send a memo out from your office saying that the commissioner is requesting that if you have a budget revision, that you come in person, just so that you have any questions. So we can take care of that administratively unless you have another
No, I think it's important, but we always used to.
Yeah, I just think that conditions got to where we were limiting the number of people and, so I'll take care of that today.
All right, Dawn, do you have anything you'd like to add? Dave?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I have a farm protection meeting this evening, and it's just, the discussion happened a little while ago, but then COVID struck some officers, and so, we will be, holding that meeting this evening, and I don't believe that there is anything else on my radar. But, again, happy Thanksgiving, thanks to everyone that, came out today for our meeting, and with that, we are adjourned. Please,